This is MJ. I love Star Wars. Right now I want to talk about Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 8, which is called Together Again. Now, this is going to be a super quick review. I know I keep saying that and then going long, but I think this time it really will be super quick. I like the episode overall. I actually watched it, and then I watched it last night, and then I kind of rewatched it. I had it on while I was fixing something, so I feel like my entertainment mind was able to focus on what was going on while mechanically I was fixing or working some turning screws and things like that. So like I didn't have this brain power diverted away from me listening to the episode and glancing at it a little bit, especially like the part with Maul and Ahsoka and stuff. But I don't know that this was like a great episode. And I almost feel badly saying like, oh, I'm just kind of happy that it's over now. This arc is over, and to some extent, it felt like just a setup to go into the next arc. The whole, not Malachor. I mean, too much into KOTOR. Actually, I guess they do end up on Malachor, don't they? Interesting. Sorry, super distracted. So much Star Wars. So, anyway, Mandalore. Everything leads back to Mandalore and to her confrontation with Maul and those things, or not everything, but that's where this arc is leading us. A lot of different people are talking about what this arc means for Ahsoka's character and how it's setting up for her solo book by E.K. Johnston, just called Ahsoka. And, it sets her up for her role as Fulcrum and her role in Rebels. Sorry, spoilers if you didn't know that already. And then ultimately her role in, other future stories. We know by the end of Rebels, or from the end of Rebels, we know that she, is taking on a very different role, and it's a extremely different character from who she is today. And she's also 30 or more years older. Yeah. Well, 25 to 30 years older than she is when we see her here in the Clone Wars. So, yeah. I understand why we've gotten so much focus on Trace and Rafa, and I can see the ways that their arcs have moved in this episode, or these series of episodes have paralleled Ahsoka on her journey. I'm just not very pleased with it. Like, I just didn't like these characters that much. I kind of appreciated them at the end, and maybe if I saw them in future story arcs, I would feel better about them, but I just didn't like the ride. Like, I'm fine with where it got us, and I enjoyed all the Ahsoka parts a lot. There's like neat ideas in it, like with Ahsoka betraying them, quote unquote betraying them, and Rafa saying, I won't forget this, or I will never forget this, or whatever. That was a really interesting, like, kind of sweet way that she was saying, like, hey, I'm going to respect you, whatever, I appreciate your hustle, because she was hustling the Pykes at that time, and she's saying, I'm not going to forget this because look at what you've done for me and my sister. Thank you so much for freeing us and for saving us. And then the fact that she wanted to go back for her, and she did, was really cool. But I also like the fact that Ahsoka was saving herself. Like, she was able to rescue herself through this situation, basically. She ended up getting caught by the Pykes, but when that explosion happened, I bet she would have gotten out of there too, even if they hadn't been there. But it's just kind of interesting. Like, everyone's, like, the Martez sisters get points for acting altruistically and doing the right thing and being brave and coming back to save her, but she also gets points because she was going to save herself. It reminds me of Bastila. Speaking of KOTOR, Bastila, at the swoop race, after you've beaten Bendak or Brejik, I think, she's like, you mean you're rescuing me? I rescued you. You would have been dead if I hadn't come back here. And it's like, is it really? is that really the case? But anyway, I like that. I kind of like the idea of two different sets of characters working towards the same goal and being able to achieve it without each other, but ultimately they come together at the end, and it's for the better, or I'm not sure how to say it, but it just, I don't know, it's kind of a fun character dynamic and story dynamic, so I appreciated that. I wasn't the biggest fan of this arc. I mean, there was, like, it was interesting, but I didn't like it. It's kind of like eating, I like most vegetables, but if there's something you don't like, the proverbial vegetable that you don't enjoy eating, but you do because it's good for you, it's kind of what this felt like. So I don't know, what's the word for that, perfunctory or something? I'm not really sure how to describe it, but I guess that's what this was for me. So yeah, I liked the arc overall. Like, it was entertaining and informative, but it was more informative than entertaining, I guess. And, I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad to move on to Mandalore, and we got that glimpse of Maul and stuff, and that's interesting. And, like, one of the most interesting things was how he has the syndicate like working against each other, and they mentioned him working with Crimson Dawn, and they, I guess, eventually replace the Pykes, or maybe he runs each of them as kind of independent operations against each other. And I hadn't realized that he was doing that, but that does remind me of what Sidious is doing, running the CIS versus the Republic. And it's interesting to see how he learned from his master, and we got to see that in Clone Wars season 4, was it, when he set up his empire or whatever? Anyway, his crime empire, I mean. Yeah, it's about all I have to say for this episode. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know that I have a bunch of merch I've made. It's Star Wars related, and there's non-Star Wars related stuff too, but I'll show you all the Star Wars stuff, and then I'll show you a glimpse of like a kind of a cross section of stuff I have. So I have, you can get on baby clothes, kids clothes, a hoodie, a t-shirt, that kind of thing. You can get on men and women's shirts. I have this Luke design where he's got a quote from Rise of Kylo Ren issue 2, which is a pretty cool quote, but I can't remember what it says. Oh, it says, the Force is a blade and so am I. And he says that when he's beating up the Knights of Ren, which is pretty cool. And then I came up with my own little Star Wars mantra, and it says, in balance lies power, to hear the dark and walk in light. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a kind of ethos that Ahsoka's embodying by, serving the Force and serving the light, but doing it not as a Jedi. And I'd love to have long, protracted philosophical discussions about the Jedi, because I think they're kind of failed and flawed, and I think there are some core fundamentals they should get back to. And Lucas showed us them at their height, but also at like the height of their arrogance and confusion. Although, is that really them at their height right before the fall of the Republic? The prequels. I don't know. Anyway, so I have merch relating to Star Wars, and then I enjoy Tokusatsu, which is kind of like Power Rangers. It's the original source material stuff, so I have some designs of those, and then I enjoy comics, of course. This MJ Love Star Wars show is found in the comics feed, or the Swing Through Comics feed, so I have like the web heart, and I have a cool cap shield design, and some other stuff that you can check out there. So anyway, I'd appreciate if you enjoyed this, that you would take a look over there, and I will go ahead and start my closing spiel. MJ Love Star Wars can be found on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and mjmunoz.com/stc. Check out mjmunoz.com for more of my work. I have multiple podcasts and original works of fiction there. I'm an aspiring author who will gladly accept your financial support through coffee, or you can buy merch from my Redbubble store. Relevant links are in the show notes. If you had a good time, like and share this. Please subscribe to help me grow. Comment to tell me I'm wrong, help me improve, or just talk Star Wars with me. And remember, in balance lies power, to hear the dark and walk in light.